200-300 times in the last 2 weeks. Okay. The beam is up. Good morning guys, and welcome back to the next episode of the DIY Dream Workshop build. And in today's episode it is very exciting because it's been a full 7 days since we did the concrete base and it's looking pretty good. It's very solid indeed. I have come out here a few times the last few days just to check on it, and I think it's been drying pretty well. Looking at stuff online, it kind of said to give it a full 7 days, to give it, I think it said about 70% of its full strength before you start building on it. I did read a few bits online saying you could start a little bit earlier than that, but I didn't really have time to start any earlier than this, so the full 7 days actually worked out quite well. I think the first few steps I'm going to have to do is just cleaning up around the edge of some of these where we kind of had to pour. This end was the bit where we kind of screed everything off, so it's got a lot more concrete on it, whereas the other ones aren't as bad, to be fair. It should lift away. So I think the first job's going to be getting all the shuttering, all the framing off, just getting rid of all this bits of concrete and seeing how it looks. I'm kind of interested to see how the edges look, because I completely forgotten the day. It was so hectic to vibrate it down and just make sure it was all in there, but it should still be deep enough, it should still be thick enough, and it should still be solid enough, so I don't think it'll be a problem either way. But yeah, let's get the shuttering off and see what it looks like. All the edges are off now and got them all down there, and I'll give you a little showing of what we're looking at here. So if I show you down here, for instance, I can't put it down too far, but it looks pretty decent, to be fair. Maybe I can see it a bit easier on one of these ones over here. Yeah, that looks like that's definitely 150 mil. I did notice the corners are a bit less, well, they're like slight, I don't know if you can see in there, slightly more rounded, but it seems like there's a little bit kind of down that edge there, but it seems mostly like it's kind of sat quite well and gone into the form nicely. So I think what I'm going to do is get rid of all the little stakes and bits that I put in to begin with, and then give the top a nice brush and just check all the edges, because some of the edges are a little bit, I don't know if you can see kind of these kind of bits here where they're kind of broken away as I was taking bits up. So I should have really probably done a little edging job on this when it was still soft, but I don't think it's going to matter too much once we get the wood on top of it, to be fair. That is all the edging off and all the rebar and extra little bits that I put in to keep it in place, all off. So I think the next job is now give it a nice quick sweep down with a brush, get all the edges looking as nice and kind of clean as possible, just so it's nice and smooth, so when we lay down our sole plates they're going onto something nice and straight. Sorry for the quick interruption and sorry that I look so sweaty, but we've just had an exciting delivery, which is our glulam beam has arrived. And let me tell you, it is pretty big and pretty heavy. The truck driver helped me get it off, but I did say just leave it at the front of the house. But I found my little kind of makeshift dolly, if you can see this, and I loaded the front of it onto there, and I was just about able to put it down to the garage. So I've got it down here. I don't think I can get it actually in there by myself, so I've called a few mates just to see if anyone can come help. So I think later on we'll get it in the garage just so it's out of the weather. But while we're down here as well, I'll show you as well, we've got all the wood that came over the last few days. So I've got that all stacked up in here, all good. We've got our treated stuff and then our normal. We've also actually got, while we're down here as well, the steel security door came the other day, which is very nice. Looks all good. That was actually a clearance door, so the to buy that full price it was like kind of, I think it was around £500, but I was able to get that on clearance if somebody had ordered it and they'd done it the wrong colour, just white, instead of they wanted it some other colour. I got it for £250, so saved some money there, which is good. We are finally on to what I'd say is the more fun bit of this build, and the bit I think I'm more looking forward to, of actually building the workshop and starting it. So the first things we've got to do is start building the stud wall frames. I think my goal is to start at the back, just because that's the only wall in the whole workshop that doesn't have any openings at all. I've never kind of framed anything out before, so it's going to be an interesting process. Well, when I say I've never framed anything out, I've never framed up a building in a sense of its actual external walls. On the old workshop, I lined the internal walls of the garage with stud walls, but this time obviously we're going to be going straight in. These are going to be the actual final exterior walls. So I just need to basically work out how long does each stud need to be before we kind of start building the walls, as obviously everything will kind of need to be to that same spec. And it also makes a difference between what the back wall is going to be for then what the two gable end walls are going to be, because I need to have, I think I've got a 25-degree pitch on my roof, so I just need to make sure that whatever the back height is, I've then got enough to go to the right pitch for where my beam is going to go. I know none of that probably made any sense at all, but hopefully as I'm doing it, it will kind of seem more clear. Obviously, the only annoying thing with storing all the wood down in the old garage is I now need to carry it all the way to the end of the garden. I always liked the idea of having a big garden, but now I've been doing this build, I've probably walked up and down it about 200-300 times in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, hasn't been as fun. I was kindly sent out by Tracer their Pro line of marking pens to try out on this build. I've been using Tracer for quite a while now, and I really like their products. And when I saw they brought out this new kind of pro range of different size pencils, I really wanted to give them a go. So one of the ones I really liked the look of was the, I don't know what you'd call it, the fat pencil. So you've got a nice big tip there, and it's all made out of like real nice, I don't know if it's like a aluminum or it's like a metal blend, but yeah, it's made out of a real nice thick material. It's got a nice weight to it, like very heavy, which I quite like in a pencil. And yeah, it came with 3 different sets. I think this one's a deep hole marker, which I kind of use quite a lot. Might be quite good. Yeah, there you go. So you can get that in once you've drilled a hole. You can get that in. Yeah, I really like these. So as I said, I've been using Tracer for the last kind of 2-3 years now in my workshop. I'm excited to give these ones a go. Oh, when you get a fine line one as well, one of the mechanical pencils. Just done a quick calculation, and for the end wall, I'm going to do, to begin with, for the fold plate, I'm going to do 3 even strips of, I believe it was 1916 mil. That will give me 3 even bits that will equal 575. So we can start with that as the beginning for the fold plate. So I'm going to quickly get them cut now. Right, I'm going to start with this one first. So, throw that on there. Right, I think I said, I've already forgotten it. 1916. We've got the boards cut. I'm just going to give them a quick little check on the sizing of if we are on the right track, which I believe we will be. That goes along there, that then comes up in there, looking good, and hopefully that means this. Oh, literally perfect. I've just cut a 2 meter length of the treated CLS, and I've got 3 of them stacked on the floor. So basically 2 for a sole plate and then 1 for your header. So if I stand next to it here, it might be a bit easier to see. If I put that on there, that's 3 and the 2 meters. So I think that's quite a nice height for the eaves. Obviously the actual outside will be a little bit higher because it's going to have, as I say, that 100mm insulated roof panels on. But I think looking at that, that's already way taller than what my old workshop used to be. And obviously this is the eaves, so this is basically the lowest point of the building. From there we'll start going up quite dramatically, which will be really nice for height, for full length bits of wood and stuff. So yeah, I think I'm happy with that. That is all the studs now cut to 2 meter lengths. I've also cut the extra base plate, so we've got 2 base plates, not base plates, sole plates, and 1 header. I've also cut an extra stud for each end because when I was looking online about corners, obviously you need to make sure that your corners have somewhere to attach to when you're on the inside. So it might be a bit easier to show once it's actually on there, once we get to that stage. But yeah, got an extra bit for that. I've actually now, the other day I treated myself to a new tool for this project, which is the Milwaukee M18 FFN, which is a first fix framing nailer. I have the pin nailer of this and I really like it, so I thought I'd grab this because I know I'll probably use it quite a bit and it'll be really good for building the workshop and doing all the stud walls. Okay, let's see how this first one goes. Knock it straight off. Now we're going to do the top. Just want to try and make sure this is nice and square as well. Should be pretty square. Should be, he says. Okay. That's all the studs attached at the top and bottom. I'm going to just quickly now put on the second sole plate. I'm going to shoot that all into place. Obviously this isn't actually joined up on these joints. If I move out of the way, you can probably see it a bit easier. It's not actually joined up yet, so to get it all level and joined, I'm just going to put some longer sole plates along there and connect these up. And then the first wall of the workshop has been made. Okay, let's get this shot into place. Right, I've just realised I probably should have got some shorter nails because I've shot straight through these. I might have to shoot this up into the studs because that is popping straight out there. Did not think about that at all. Everything is now on. It's all shot in place. I did right at the end decide that I was going to put a double top plate on as well, just because when I went to go lift it, when it just had the single, it did feel not super sturdy. So I thought last minute, throw that on. Anyway, next thing I want to do is get the DPM on the bottom of this. So I think what I'm going to do is pull it just so it's overlapping the edge a little bit, get the DPM out, cut it and staple it along there. And that should at least make this pretty rock proof, to be fair. And as I said, we're still going to roll up the other DPM underneath as well before we lift it up. Right, I'm going to attempt to see if I can budge this at all. I don't actually have much hope. Oh, okay. You just got to put your back into it a little bit. Right, that looks good. So I went with this roll of DPM, I think it's 100 mil by 30 meters, which should do us well. As I said, I'm going to do that to the bottom there. Let's get this off first. They always make these things so annoying to get off, don't they? Right, I think everything is now ready to try and give this a lift. So what I'm going to do is get it as close as we can to begin with, and then see how heavy this thing is. And it might end up that I need to get some people in to give me a little bit of a lift, because it does seem very heavy, I'll be honest. Indeed. Let's go for this. Okay. Whew. Okay. That wasn't actually too bad. So, let's see if we can roughly get this in a bit of a place here without it all falling over. Definitely would be a lot easier with a second pair of hands, but actually stands up straight. Okay, let's go very quickly. I'm going to get this little brace on here. Just to make sure this doesn't fall straight over. Guys, we have done it. The first wall is up in the workshop. How good does that look? I'm actually pretty proud of that, you know. Considering I've never done a framed out stud wall like that before. It looks pretty solid. There's definitely a few nail placement errors, like this isn't pretty if I'm honest, and something like that, but I just need to make sure I'm kind of shooting maybe into a bit of a better angle on some of these. I might have to clip some of these heads just so when I board it out it's not getting in the way too much. But yeah, how does that look? Also height wise, pretty nice to be fair. So yeah, one wall down, 3 more to go. I thought I'd give it just a very quick check on the level as well. And it slightly needs to go over that way. Just to make it plump. There we go. Perfect and plumb. It's been an overnight now and the wall is still standing. So I think I must have braced it okay. The next job that we're going to be jumping onto today is we're going to be doing the 2 gable end walls. Now these are going to be slightly more complicated than the end wall. Obviously the end wall is just a flat singular wall. There's no openings, anything on there. Both gable walls have, the one on this side has a garage door, a roller garage door, and the one on the far side over there has a window in it. They also are going to have the beams in them, well, not beams, they're going to have some longer pieces of timber in the middle, which is going to hold up our glulam beam. So I've just got to kind of have a bit of a think about how's best to put them together. I'm thinking to do a very similar thing to what I did with the first stud wall. Build it out, but I'm not going to put the top plate on straight away. I'm going to cut the beams to the right height to go in the middle that holds our big kind of main beam. And then I think I'll put the top plate on so it kind of runs into those pieces. It might be easier when I'm kind of showing you. It kind of sounds a bit crazy in my head at the moment, but it should work out hopefully. So guys, all the wood is cut for the sole plates and the studs. I now need to do a little bit of calculations and working out because, as I said, this wall's got a window in it and this wall's got quite a large garage door, roller garage door in it. So I'm just going to have to work out what spacing I need to give. I believe the window I've got is about 600mm wide and the garage door is about 2 meters wide. So I think what I might do is on the sole plate just mark that out to the points, the 2 meter point, and also 600mm point in there. I need to have a little think as well about how far in I want things. Like for instance the window, I know I want it in that corner, but how kind of close or far do I want it from that corner? Same with the garage door. I know with the garage door I actually want it as close to the middle as possible just because of height restrictions. So I'm gonna have a quick look now, quick measure, and just maybe mark it out on there to actually see where I can maybe put these, put the studs, because obviously I don't actually need all these studs in there, especially on that one, because there's a 2 meter wide opening. I'm going to lose a lot of that, but obviously I can just use those studs for the final wall. So yeah, I've done some quick calculations. We've got the middle right here, and then what I'm going to be doing is put in 4 pieces together going up there, which will hold my big beam for the vaulted ceiling. So that's 2 there, 2 there. I've then come over 1 more stud's worth to here, and that is going to be my garage door opening, and that falls just about here. So you've got the 2 meter width there. I think the garage door's 2 meters fully, but because it's a inset door, it's obviously the opening needs to be a bit less, but I'm thinking with that I could always obviously add in a couple of extra studs either side just to kind of pack it out. And then if I bring you over here, you can see that we also have the window marked out. Now for this I didn't really know, I don't know if there's any like rules or regulations of like how close windows are to corners or different bits like that, but I've come about 15 centimeters in from the edge there. Obviously there is going to be that wall as well, so it's more like 23, 24 centimeters in, but I didn't want it right up against this corner just if there was any problems for some reason, so I've come a decent way in. 61, I think the window is 600mm and it's said to allow for extra 1 centimeter, so I've done 61 there. So the next thing I'm just debating of what I do, obviously we've got the middle marked here as well, is just thinking about, do I now cut the longer pieces that go up to the beam and get them in place, or do I shoot this together with a nail gun, obviously miss the openings, and then I think I'm going to cut the pieces first just so we've got them, just as then everything can kind of be in place, and then we can also measure our top plates as well. I'm thinking with the top plates, I've got some longer pieces, so I'm thinking about doing them out of 1 full length instead of doing them broken up like this, just because I think that might be a bit more sturdy and it might just go into the kind of middle beams a lot easier if it's just 1 single piece from there to there, instead of like how this one's done where it's kind of a 1 and then it'll be about a meter's worth of another. So these are my longer pieces here, they're 4.8. I only probably need, I think, about 3.1 of that, so we're going to have a bit left over there. And also my dad came around last night and there he helpfully moved the beam into the garage just so it's a bit more protected. But God, you can see there it kind of So it's basically, I don't know whether you guys know, I might be teaching you to suck eggs, but this is a glulam beam, so it's glued together basically like laminated pieces. So it's kind of similar to a piece of this, but I think they're kind of 6x2s that have been glued together to make one strong beam. And I've stood on it, and yeah, I mean, it's proper. There's no kind of deflection or anything like that at all, so should be good. But yeah, let's get a few of these ones down to the end. I can only carry 2 of these at a time, and I think we're going to need 8 for the actual beams, and then we should need about 4 extras after that, so about 12. So let's get them moved down there. Back it up, Terry. Oh, what a nice day. I know I said it was quite warm, but I'm actually not getting too hot, to be fair, which is nice. Right, I'm just wondering what's best about where to stack these up. Probably just there, to be fair. I've just done a quick bit of calculation, and I believe it was 3354 on these pieces. 3354. I'm just going to give that a quick check just to make sure. 3354. Yep, perfect. So 33. Basically, exactly there. Beautiful. So we're going to cut 4 of these to this length, and then they will go down over there, and we'll create a nice little base to hang our beam on. Let's get this big boy. Let's start shooting. Right, so we've got all these studs in. These ones are not currently needed. So that's the last one. So we're going to put in our first few of our longer studs. That's one. Right, that's 2. For another one. Go this side. And then Right, that's nice. And then got one final one to shoot in there. So that goes in there. That looks in like that. So you might have been seeing and noticing this very swanky hammer while I've been putting this together. This is from Kinetic Customs. I bought this myself just because I really liked it, but if you're a UK guy, you probably might already know these and have seen these a lot, but they are a brand of hammer makers who make very cool hammers. They make a wide range of different framing hammers and different bits, but you can fully customize the color of the head, the handle, the actual metal bit, everything like that. They do all different heads, all different shafts and stuff, so there's a lot of cool different ones. I obviously went with a red camo handle, black metal, and then a red head. They also come with this nice little rubber piece for protecting your head if you're doing any stuff that needs to be like that, and they've got a nice little nail hole there. So yeah, they're all nice hammers. I've been using it now this whole project and for the last few weeks and really like it. They are a bit pricey, but obviously they're kind of a hammer that you'd have for life. So yeah, really nice, and I definitely recommend them. Also, they can do engravings as well, so I don't know if you can see that, but I've got XX on there. But yeah, look really cool. Anyway, I'm going to get these last few top bits in, and this wall will then be complete. We have now got this wall all fully put together, and it is looking great. Also, all the measurements did work out, and it is nice and square as well. So that's obviously where their garage doors go in. This is obviously nothing here. I have made one slight error though, but it should be pretty fixable. So when I was calculating the length of these boards to put the beam on, I went to the height that the top of the beam should sit at. Obviously not thinking I need to take off the height of the beam off this. So at the moment this is coming to 343 exactly, which is what the height of the whole building needs to be. But we need to take off 36 off this, so that will be 307. So right about here I need to cut off, which is fine. I don't think there's any screws in the way. I'm hoping not. Any nails, I mean. But yeah, so just debating whether I just use a hand saw and just cut that by hand. Might not be as straight, but probably be easier than trying to use a track saw or something else on it. But yeah, let's get that cut and get that to the right size, and then I need to make sure I cut those bits over there. I need to cut them down to the right height as well, because I don't want to do this again. So we're going to give this a quick cut like this. Normally I don't have a circular saw, because that'd probably be a lot easier than doing this. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. That's actually pretty straight as well. That's cut and fixed. I'm going to give this a lift into place. So let's see how heavy this is. Oh God, that's probably not a great place to lift from, to be fair. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Jesus Christ. That is heavy. That is heavy. Something I've just noticed is I forgot to put a second header plate on this. So I'm going to have to put it down and put another one on. Oh God. It is the next day. I got kind of caught up yesterday at the last bit, so I had to quickly pack up and do a few bits, not on the workshop, but Today I actually haven't had as much time, but I've been able to get a few things ready and some quite exciting things that I'll show you now. So if you can see, there is a slight change at the moment. I've put this beam up on here at the moment just to kind of brace these two sides, and also in the middle here you might see I've rented a beam lifter, which I didn't know what one of these was until I did a little bit of research into it last night, when I started getting a bit worried about how we were going to get the beam up on the top of that. But I found online you could rent, again, coming in clutch, Dewsons, a beam lifter, which basically put your big old fat beam on here, it can spin so you can get it in different ways, crank that and up it goes. Now this literally only just reaches the top of that, so I might have to put a bit of wood on here first just to bring the beam off of this. And I also think if I put a few long bits, like maybe 2 of them on there, it at least gives the beam a bit more of an area to sit on. I did think I could even, there are some mounting holes, so I could even bolt those bits of wood down just so it's proper steady. But I just raise it up enough so we can get it right on top of there and then hopefully crank it down to put it into place. It is actually turning out to be a bit of a mission to work out this bit. This is the one, other than the concrete base, this is the one other thing that I was just a little bit worried about what I was going to do. But I think we've sorted it now. Got a few people coming over tomorrow to help with it. Some strong people, may I add. So hopefully that's all good. Anyway, in the meantime, before that happens tomorrow, I've decided I want to get these 3 walls drilled into place and locked in. I've been spending the last kind of 20 minutes, half an hour or so, just trying to, don't know if you can see here, I went out and bought one of these builder squares. So it's basically, it's very similar to the doing the method of the 345, but it is just a perfect large square. I think it's about 1200 mil either way, so it can give you like a nice right angle radius. And I'll be honest, it's been a real pain trying to get this square. The base is obviously square, but when you're putting up the walls, you've got to worry about not just if you imagine the flatness of them, but obviously also the kind of tilt like this. They can just be off in so many different ways, so trying to get them right and trying to get it the right kind of overlap and hang over the whole thing has been a bit of a nightmare. But I've got, as you can see there, that one is perfectly straight, and over here I just measured there as well, and that is also perfectly straight and square. So I think the next thing to do is drill in some holes to the concrete and put in my anchors, which I went out and got some these sleeve anchors. Oh, before I drop that down, they are, I think they're M12s, yeah, M12 130mm. So that should go nicely through my double sole plate and then still have enough reach to get into the concrete. I want to make sure I kind of drill as close to the edge as possible, because this will really blow out the concrete, because those anchor bolts are really kind of tight. As I said, I got these M12 ones, so I got a 12mm bit, so these look huge right here. Okay, let's get the hammer as well. Alright, that ain't going nowhere. We got the drill cam. And now we've got hammer cam. And finally, We've got ratchet cam. That is all the anchor bolts put in and secured down. So now these walls are pretty sturdy, if I must say so myself. They're all locked in. I've kind of done them every 1.2 meters, which online seemed to be about the right amount, and also obviously in the corners as well. Either side the door, either side this obviously larger opening for the garage door, I've done 2 there, and then we've also got 2 down, hiding down there. So yeah, they're all in. It's looking pretty sturdy. As I said, I've kind of got it leveled up. I've got these bits, diagonal braces, just holding it in place at the moment until we get the beam in. Once the beam's in, we've got to obviously build this final wall, which annoyingly I deliberately didn't build because I wanted to get the beam in fine, and I thought that gave us a bit more room to get in. But looking at it now, I mean, to be fair, probably was worth doing, but it just means it's going to be a bit annoying for building the last wall, because I'm probably going to have to build it out over there and then bring it onto here. But if we get the beam up, I don't really care, you know, I'm happy. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I think it's going to look pretty cool having that big beam up there. I'm a little bit nervous, if I'm honest. Things holding super heavy things above your head, there's a possibility of dropping them on yourself. There's always been a bit of a fear. So hopefully this beam lifter comes in clutch and gets it up there fine. But yeah, there's not much else to say today. It's freaking boiling today. It's 24 degrees and I'm melting. So I haven't actually been out here too much today just because it's been a bit more busy. But tomorrow's meant to be a little bit of rain, so hopefully it cools down a bit. But hopefully it doesn't rain too hard while we're putting in the beam. Alright guys, it is beam day today. And I did go out actually last night onto the old Facebook Marketplace, and I picked myself up a nice little scaffold tower. So there's 8 parts of this. So I've got 4 over there, 4 over there. Obviously they can go on top of each other, and I think they go to about nearly 4 meters height, but I thought that would be perfect for putting the beam on, and then also for when I'm doing the roof and bits like that, and anything up higher. Because I did actually look at buying some ladders yesterday, but they're just so expensive that the kind of ones I'd need were like 200-300 quid for a ladder, and I just really can't see myself using it that much apart from on this project, where as I feel the scaffolding, it was about £100 on Facebook Marketplace, which I feel is a pretty good deal. And I then have got some scaffolding that I can use for anything else I ever need to. I think it'd be a handy thing to have, and if I don't want it, I can always obviously just throw it back on Facebook Marketplace. But yeah, we've got them in place. They're nice and sturdy. So I need to make a few more of these boards. It only came with 6 boards. Make a few more of these boards, but I've got loads of obviously offcuts and bits I can do that out of. So that's not a problem at all. So looking forward to getting this beam up here. I've got some strong men coming soon to come help me. And obviously we've got the old beam lifter there as well. So I was thinking of having these on here when we put the beam on, just to give it a bit more surface area to kind of lay on, because that's probably only about 45 centimeters. So, but we'll see. And maybe that might be a bit, might actually make it worse. But yeah, in the next hour or so, you should hopefully be seeing a beam up in the sky. And obviously you got to do the test of strength. So I'm going to do a few pull-ups here. Pretty strong. In editing, Sam, can you make it look like I've done 5 of them? Okay. That seems pretty. Yeah, we probably just want to get it on the wood a bit more.
Is there a centre mark of this?
Shall I quickly make a mark?
Yeah, let's do one. No I'm moving away from.
Right. Is that still free enough that we can move it?
Yeah.
Right, and then we need to give it a bit of a...
Is that? That should be about it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like it should be there.
Right, do you want to hold that in place, David, a second? And I'm just going to... That's still in place?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a millimetre out.
That's perfect. All right. I'm just securing the beam, and I've got these, I think they were 60mm by, might have been 90mm, though that looks way bigger than 90mm, but these are L brackets. What I'm doing with them is I'm just putting them up and connecting them to the big joist kind of beams here, and then that's going straight into my big beam up here. So I'm just securing that in. I had to drill these holes a bit bigger because the holes it comes with weren't big enough for the screws I got, which were some of the hex top. They're the like coach screws, so they're just massive screws, and they're kind of going in with the impact driver, but they seem to be holding it in place quite nicely. So I've got two on the inside either side, and then I'm doing one on the outside, and it's all galvanized stuff, so it should be fine. But just want to get this beam secured in. I think it's already pretty secure kind of this way. Anyway, I think going maybe like that way, I might need to put a few more supports, but yeah, it feels mega solid, to be fair. Guys, we have done it. The beam is up. I'll be honest, it is actually a little bit scary standing underneath this at the moment. It is tacked in, but it's definitely, I don't want that falling on my head at all. But thank you so much to Herman and his dad for coming to lift it up. I don't think we would have been able to have done that without them. But yeah, the beam's up. Life is good, you know. We've now got all of the walls completed on the workshop. I quickly just threw this one up off camera just because I'd kind of shown the rest of them, so I thought I'd just throw it. The only difference really on this one is that you've got an opening here for the door, and then you've got an opening here for the window. I've still got to obviously do the base and top plate of the window, but that's just where that's going to go. So you can see, and I'm going to kind of wait until the windows come just to make sure I definitely get them the right size, as I'm not 100% sure. When I ordered the windows, I ordered them with sills, so I'm not 100% sure if it's plus, like that I ordered 1100mm windows height wise. I'm not sure whether the sills are extra to that or if they are included in the 1100mm, so I just don't want to kind of put anything in permanently yet until we know. But we're getting on with the framing, and we're actually on one of the last jobs for the framing now, which is putting up the rafters to go up to our big old beam. I've got my template. I'm going to line up here, and I'm going to give myself a little bit of room on this edge, just so I'm not cutting right up against it. Mark our 25 degree, and then mark our, don't even know what degree this would be, our long cut, which is nice. Okay, let's get this on here. Sorry about that, guys. It started raining quite hard yesterday, and I was able to get a little bit more done, but everything was getting completely soaked, all my camera and all my tools, so I had to make a quick mad dash inside. But as you can see, we've got one side of the workshop beams up now, which I'm actually quite pleased with. I was a bit worried about that process, just because I was just thinking into it maybe a bit too much. I don't actually need these beams up here at all. The rafters, I only need the outside ones, but just for the way I do the roof, and obviously again it'll probably be easier when I actually am doing the roof to show you in real time, but there's more just there to have something to screw into. because at the moment I'm just worried that the roof sheets are only going to be able to screw into the top beam, and then my header plates on the walls, which I don't really think is enough mounting points. I know it says that's fine, but I just feel like I'd be a bit more comfortable if we had a row going down as well. So each panel should land on one of these rafters up there, so it should have a full raft to screw into as well, and then obviously they do connect together, so it should be a pretty strong roof. But what I'm going to get done now is, I actually haven't fully secured these in yet, so we're going to get these secured. I've got all these sides cut as well, which I'll show you in a minute, and I'm going to get these up, and then once that's done, the rest of the plan is, we've got actually real busy day today, is to get all the noggins in everywhere, get the 2 window plates over here, get them in to the right heights, and then also put our supports studs going up our gable ends just up to the top there. So there is a lot to do. It's going to be a very busy day. It's also very hot. Yesterday it was like 29 degrees, and today it's 21 at the moment, but it said it's going to be about 26 I think eventually. So yeah, busy and hot day, so let's get on. Not gonna lie, this definitely feels sketchy being up this high. I never originally planned for the workshop to actually be this tall. I think I just kind of miscalculated on a few parts, and it ended up being, I mean, I wanted it tall, but in my last workshop it was only about 2 meters tall, so in my head I was thinking, well, I definitely want it like another metre and a bit taller than that, and I think we've ended up about 3.4, 3.5 height, and then obviously with when the roof goes on as well, it's going to be probably like 3.6, 3.7, so it's way taller than I was expecting. I'm not a scared of heights kind of person, but I don't know why, this one's just freaking me a little bit. Can't really think how a better way of doing this. So this seemed like the obvious choice. Ooh, that's looking good, isn't it? I don't know if you can see along there, but that's all of them up there. Need to tie those ends in and do the 2 on the other side, so I'm going to switch over there now. Somehow I've got to get back to the camera though. It was already a bit of a reach without this in there. So let's see what it's saying. Oh, there we go. Just come over to the other side. I don't know if you can see it there, but this is really out. But I think I've noticed this wall isn't perfectly straight, so I'm going to try and pull it in before I screw down. Just get rid of this gap here, because I don't really want that much of a gap there. As I said, these aren't structural or anything. They're literally just to give me a few more mounting points, so they don't need to be perfect, but I still don't want kind of a finger gap between that. So I'm going to see if I can pull that in quickly and get that. Wondering if it's better to do one of these ones out here, which is a bit less stretched. All of the rafters are now in and secured. Look, I can't get over how cool that looks, you know, now. Like, I feel like putting the rafters in has just kind of made it look like a building. Like before, you obviously just had the walls and the beam, but I think now, like, if I come over here, oh, look at that. Look at that. Damn. That is very cool indeed. I'm liking that a lot. So yeah, everything's done up there now. Next job I think I'm going to do is the 2 windows. They're the last 2 bits of stub work there. So let's jump into that. Yeah, nice little view down there. Obviously from here you can see the house, see everything down there, and then got a little side window here as well. So that'll be nice to have that open, because this window here is just one full piece of glass, just for look. Just aesthetically, I prefer that to the kind of divided up windows that we have here in the UK. I can't open it though because it's quite a big one, but I didn't really want to open it anyway. I just wanted a nice big view. So this is obviously going to be the office anyway, so my desk is going to be along there. Be sitting here, and yeah, nice little view out there, seeing down the garden, seeing who's coming to get me, you know. we've now got all of these extra supports cut and ready to go in. They kind of follow the studs below them, which I think is quite handy roughly. I mean, again, these again aren't really supporting anything because the roof's already supported by the beam and the outside walls, so it's more to give me somewhere to get some kind of somewhere to put the sheathing and the inside lining on. These are nice and square in there, and once they seem square, I'm going to give them old Mr. Nail Gun. Don't really know what's the best way with the nail gun to kind of and the framing is done. Look how beautiful that is. Got the last few little bits in, had Dale over there giving me a little bit of help just with these, getting these noggins in, but everything is fully in. The framing part of the DIY Dream Workshop is finished. Look at those. Oh, look at those rafters up there. Looks beautiful. It actually looks really cool like this, you know. I like seeing photos of kind of just stud worked buildings. It's quite a cool little setup. But I hope you've enjoyed watching that episode of all the stud work. If you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, I've done one on the concrete, one on the doing all the work before, the prep work for the concrete, and then also one digging out and the kind of plans and what I was thinking of doing. So make sure you check them out if you haven't already checked them out. But yeah, I hope you've kind of enjoyed this episode. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one, where it will either be the sheathing or might even be the roof if it comes in time. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys.